Major funding for this program provided by the Moving Image Trust Fund. Additional funding for this program provided by the Arkansas Agriculture Department.
Hello, I'm Tony Brooks, and this is Agri Arkansas. It is said that Arkansas is the birthplace of warm water aquaculture in the United States. The first commercial fish farms were built in Arkansas back in the 1940s to raise goldfish. Since then, the industry has diversified into production of more than 20 species. Let's take a closer look now at aquaculture in Arkansas.
Aquaculture essentially is farming, but in water. So it includes farming fish, crustaceans like shrimp and crabs, and it even includes raising aquatic plants like seaweeds. In Arkansas, fish farms are located all throughout the eastern part of the state and some in the southwestern part of the state. In many counties where there is a fish farm, it tends to be a large business, so it has a major impact on employment and on the economy. Overall, it contributes roughly nearly $400 million to the total economy. But on a local level in local towns, a fish farm is an important business that contributes locally in many, many ways.
The aquaculture industry in Arkansas is extremely diverse. If you're talking aquaculture in Mississippi, you're talking catfish, more catfish. Arkansas, we've got the largest hybrid striped bass hatchery in the world. We've got the largest goldfish hatchery in the world. We've also got the largest bait fish hatchery in the world. Also, probably your largest sport fish hatcheries are in Arkansas. And we have the 3 largest grass carp producers here in Arkansas. In fact, probably 90% of your sterile triploid grass carp that are produced in the United States are produced right here in Lone Oak County. And you know, a lot of Arkansans don't realize that Arkansas's aquaculture industry is extremely diverse. We've probably got 42,000 acres, counting catfish and everything, but a lot of it's not catfish, it's other species. Of course, the catfish industry is extremely important to Arkansas as well, but it's just one part of the industry.
Arkansas occupies a very important place in aquaculture nationally. Arkansas is first in minnow production. It's first in sport fish production across the United States. It has the world's largest hybrid striped bass hatchery, the world's largest largemouth bass farm for food fish. It's number 3 in catfish production in the United States. So it's ranked in the top 10 in many, many different species.
Well, there's a lot of challenges because even though it's aquaculture, it is farming, it's fish farming. Probably one of our largest challenges is the predation by migratory birds. These are birds like the double-crested cormorant, the white pelican, the great blue heron. They're all federally protected birds, and we have to secure a permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to be able to try to protect our crop from these birds.
Fish farmers have many things that they have to consider all the time. One of the big challenges and major costs that they have is feed. Feed prices in 2008 nearly doubled because grain prices shot up so very quickly. So feed prices and managing feed prices and managing feed efficiency is something that they pay very, very close attention to. There are other challenges that they have that are to some degree outside their control. For example, they feed this expensive feed to fish. When a flock of 1,000 pelicans comes in after the farmers have left the farm after dark, lands on a pond, corrals all the fish and gorges on all the fish and empties out the pond, the farmer just lost an awful lot of money because all that feed went into those fish. The bigger challenges I think that they face have to do with regulations from state and federal agencies, often by people who are not at all familiar with this business.
Some of the biggest challenges we face are definitely regulations constantly changing. When you deal in as many states as we deal with, it's really hard to keep up with state and federal regulations.
This is an unusual kind of business with a lot of variety that's different from terrestrial farming or land row crop farming, so a lot of regulators don't understand it. There was one time in a meeting, for example, where a regulator was talking about putting ear tags on minnows that are that size. Well, fish do have an ear, but the ear is not on the outside, and so it's just not even possible to do this on the millions of fish that are raised in the minnow industry. So I think regulations in the regulatory environment is probably the biggest problem that they have right now. In early 2000, about 2001, we started to see a dramatic increase in imports of very low-priced fish coming out of Vietnam and China that are not raised according to the same standards that we have in the United States, that allows them to put the product here at a much lower cost.
There was really no restrictions on how they marketed that fish. It was a very cheap product compared to what we were raising, and of course price, you know, in a lot of markets is dominant, and that put a lot of pressure on us.
Vietnamese farmers in particular use antibiotics that are banned for use in the United States. They use carcinogens like malachite green and that sort of thing that are coming into the United States.
The Asian fish, they have a whole catalog of chemicals and antibiotics they use to raise these fish. Most of these fish are cultured in the Mekong River, which is the most polluted river in the world. This river is about 2,300 miles long, and it starts up in China, and all this industrial waste is dumped in this river. And Vietnam is situated toward the bottom of that river, so all of this stuff flows down there where these fish are being raised.
The fact that the competition and the playing field was not a level playing field from a regulatory perspective really caused problems for the catfish industry to pass through increased feed prices onto the end consumer. As a result, the catfish industry nationwide has contracted. It has contracted in Arkansas as well, and so we have fewer catfish farms and less acreage than before. But Arkansas's catfish farmers have begun to try to reinvent themselves and become more efficient. They've started building what are called split ponds.
What we do with a split pond, you actually have a pond inside a pond, and you culture the fish in about 20% of the surface area, and the remainder of the area acts as I guess a wastewater treatment facility, and we have a large water wheel that moves, I'm going to say, 18 to 20,000 gallons a minute. And it runs about 10 to 12 hours a day, depending on the oxygen levels on the waste side. And it just really has helped our water quality. You hardly have any ammonia in these systems. We put a lot of feed through these fish in these systems, and it's just enabled us to minimally double production, sometimes 2.5, 3 times of what we can do in a conventional pond.
Aquaculture in Arkansas it has been around for 60, 70, 80 years. It's extremely important to our economy. It's the fastest growing segment of agriculture. One day, you know, it's going to be a primary food source, just like grain is today. But it's a good, cheap, healthy source of protein, and aquaculture is around to stay.
I'm quite optimistic about the future of aquaculture in Arkansas. I'm optimistic because our farmers in this state are very, very good fish farmers. They're very efficient in managing their businesses. They understand the fish. They know how to raise the fish. They understand how to approach new markets and search out new markets. So I expect our farmers to be able to continue to innovate and overcome challenges that every industry has to face over time.
As we just saw, Arkansas is currently ranked second among aquaculture producing states. We will talk more about that later when Ted McNulty, Director of Aquaculture with the Arkansas Agriculture Department, joins us. First, though, let's learn a bit about Arkansas's wine country.
We think the Arkansas Wine Trail is one of our state's undiscovered secrets. It's really time to get more attention to it, because with all the interest in culinary tourism these days, the wine trail fits in perfectly. And these wineries are typically located in some really neat spots of the state, like the scenic Arkansas River Valley up in the Ozarks. And it's a good chance for folks to get out of town and see some places of Arkansas they might otherwise not have discovered.
As far as national, I believe Arkansas is number 7 in wine production. Really, you can grow grapes and make wine anywhere you can grow corn. So, but you have to have winter because the grapevine needs a dormant period. But really, Arkansas, for some varieties, there's not a better place in the world to grow them than right here. You know, really, the trick as a farm family is figuring out what varieties you want to raise, and what you can be successful with.
Y'all think of the weirdest questions y'all can ask me about wine, try to make me look silly, and we'll do it. I'm counting on you, right? I'm going to see what questions y'all can come up with. So, you're going to see a lot of different themes here at the winery. First of all, you're going to see pride. This isn't just a business. This isn't just a winery. This is a family business. The name's right on the building, the name's on the bottle, it's on everything we do, so there's a lot of pride, a lot of care goes into the products that we're making. Another thing you're going to see is technology, and how technology is amazing, even for a centuries-old product like wine in winemaking. We're going to see, sometimes you may walk in the door and you're going to go, where are the oak barrels, or where are this and that and the other, and you might be a little disappointed at first. But then we're going to learn, and you're going to see the product and how our techniques help the flavor of the product, and I think then you'll appreciate what technology and the new way of making wine can bring to what y'all be drinking.
The Arkansas Wine Trail is a cooperative effort between the Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism, the Arkansas Highway Department, and a dozen or so vineyards across the state. What we want to do is get people off the main highways and let them see how Arkansas wine producers get their crops in, and how they bottle the product, and maybe even take a sample or two while they're out there.
We've been a part of the Arkansas Wine Trail for about 2 years, and it's made a huge impact on our business. Those signs are wonderful. People that are traveling from New York to California see them. They pull off. They're just like the rest of us. We see winery signs, and we'll travel 50 miles off the beaten path if we have to find them.
Almost at any given place that you're going to get off on the Arkansas Wine Trail, you're going to find a winery just like anywhere in the world. Great tasting rooms, great people. But one of the most important things I think about our trail is you're probably going to get to meet the owner, and you're also going to get to meet a winemaker and sit down and taste their wines. Almost every one of the tasting rooms, you're going to get an opportunity to taste almost all their wines. You really don't have to buy, they just want you to be there. They want you to experience. A lot of them have so many festivals throughout the year, another opportunity on the wine trail. But more importantly, I think it's just getting in and meeting the winemaker, meeting the owners, and getting the opportunity to taste some Arkansas wines. The trails start in northwest Arkansas, around Eureka Springs, and now we go all the way through the Ozark Boston Mountains. Beautiful, amazing trip, getting us all the way back to central Arkansas and Little Rock. Any exit that you get off, be it in Eureka Springs, Tawnytown, Little Rock, Altus, basically you can get off on any of those exits and have a weekend getaway. Think about all the places in northwest Arkansas, Crystal Bridges, Eureka Springs, Little Rock. There's so many opportunities we have on our wine trail to spend a whole entire weekend.
Well, the really neat thing about it is if you're just looking for something to do, if you go into the Parks and Tourism and pull it up, it gives you an adventure. It gives you a starting point, and you just don't know what all you're going to find along the way. There's only a few of us wineries in the state, unfortunately. We're not like Missouri or some of the other ones that have hundreds on their trail. But each one of us are so unique, and it's a great adventure, and it's definitely something to look forward to.
The Arkansas Wine Trail is such a treasure, and there's so many things to do along the way, and it's just a great weekend getaway.
Arkansas's wine country has a rich history and a large economic impact on our state. Later in the show, we will talk more about Arkansas's wine industry with Joseph Post of Post Family Vineyards near Altus. But first, let's visit with the Mayer family in Stuttgart. They're using the farming lifestyle to serve in a unique and bountiful way. Let's take a look.
We're kind of a blended mix. We foster and we foster to adopt, and that's kind of our passion. We were led into it several years ago. My wife was a school teacher and saw a lot of kids that needed more than what they were getting at home, and this is kind of an avenue for us to help children that are in need. We farm right at 2,000 acres, and we farm rice and soybeans. My grandfather started farming here on this farm in 1926. My dad started farming it around 1960 something. He took over. I'm the third generation. I came back in 2000 and started farming on the same farm. We farm a lot of other ground besides this right here, but we've always kind of considered this ground right here the home place. It's kind of a long process. We went through what we call the CALL, which stands for Children of Arkansas, Love for a Lifetime. And it's a faith-based organization that supplies all your training and everything, and it usually takes about a year to get certified to be foster parents. And then once you're open, you know, you see all types of kids. You get some kids that are may just be kicked out of the home because the house is dirty for a while, and you just got to keep them for a little bit till they get their house cleaned up. And then the majority of what we see is kids that come from abuse and mainly drug abuse homes. And so that's kind of our avenue. That's our passion. We're gonna find the dirt.
Foster children are great. It's a big joy to be able to watch them, especially Christmas time or any time, birthdays and all this stuff. It's just great to see all them little kids jumping around. They're always into something. But no, it's great to have them.
We're currently adding on to our house right now so we can get some more children. It's just kind of hard to talk about because some of our kids came from some pretty bad situations, and but we're just looking to help what we can. God has provided us a great living and everything, and so we just want to use it for that. And farming has been, I've looked at getting out of farming, and I've thought about a lot of other careers and everything, but this is the only thing that I can do that I can generate enough income and have the kind of lifestyle that we need in order to keep pursuing what we want to do with foster care and adoption.
What a wonderful story. If you're interested in becoming a foster family, you can find out more information at fosterarkansas.org. Joining us now is Ted McNulty, Director of Aquaculture with the Arkansas Agriculture Department, and Joseph Post of Post Family Vineyards. Gentlemen, welcome. Ted, we're going to start with you, and let's talk about the economic impact of aquaculture in Arkansas. We saw that it contributes some $400 million to the total economy. And when we talk about that, we talk about the markets, and I guess the markets for products, aquaculture products, are about as diverse as the products themselves.
It sure is, and in Arkansas we have about 85 fish farm families now. We have 61 million in farm gate sales and close to 400 million in economic impact. We're the nation's largest bait fish producer, producing over 90% of all bait fish raised in the United States. We're also the #1 hybrid striped bass producer. We're #1 in largemouth production, and that's a new industry. We also have ornamental fish growers, we have turtle farmers, and we have crawfish farmers. So it is a very diverse industry.
And I know up in the northeast part of the state, some of my friends are involved in aspects of growing crawfish and prawn. So
correct.
I guess there's so many different aspects of that. We talked about foreign competition in the segment that we saw, and maybe the regulations are burdensome, but how are we leveling the playing field? I know that Arkansas farmers are sometimes held at a disadvantage because of regulations that might keep them from doing certain things in their production that foreign producers don't have to do. So there's not really a level playing field with those foreign imports.
No, it's not, and they're bringing imported fish in at below cost. And these are communist countries that are bringing this in here and competing. They don't have any health or environmental regulations. Our farmers have so many federal and state agencies that regulate them, and they have to have full-time people on their farms just keeping up with the regulations to stay in business.
And even domestically, there's different regulations depending on what state you're sending your product to.
That's correct.
So that's something they have to deal with. We heard the story about some of the innovations in aquaculture, like the split ponds. So Arkansas aquaculture is growing in size, but also growing in innovation.
That's correct. The two-pond system is new, and also with that comes a new enterprise, which is breeding, crossing the blue catfish and channel catfish. And it's a hybrid catfish. It grows faster. It's more resistant to disease, and it is better in this two-pond system. So we have some producers. There's very few that can produce these fish, but we do have some that are.
Okay. Are we seeing more acreage being put in aquaculture in Arkansas?
It's staying about level right now. We lost a lot of production in catfish farms because of the imported fish and because of feed costs going so high. But that has leveled off now. I think we've hit bottom, and I think everything's pointing to a brighter future in the industry.
So for the consumer, do your research and ensure you're buying Arkansas products.
That's correct, absolutely. And Arkansas is fortunate that our consumers know what's on the menu. A lot of states don't have menu labeling laws like Arkansas does, and they don't know what they're getting. But in Arkansas, it has to be on the menu what type of fish you're getting.
Okay. Talking about the menu, let's switch gears now and talk about wine production in Arkansas. We're 7th in the nation, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers were surprised at that. But as we learned there, the climate, the soil, Arkansas is a good place for vineyards. Why is that the case?
Well, I would add to that history too. We have 5, 6, and 7 generations of Arkansans that are growing grapes and making wine.
Your operation since 1880, correct?
Since 1880, right. That's I'm the end of the 5th. So, we do have the right climate. We do have the right soil, and I think we have the right people. We need more market access, I think, is one of our struggles. We would prefer less regulations. Certainly, Ted mentioned that with the fish. We certainly have it with the wine too. Regulations that we would like to have fewer of. But anyway, we do have some wonderful products, and I think Arkansans can really be proud.
Are there types of grapes that are more acclimated to grow in Arkansas than others, and does that affect the type of wine that vineyards here produce?
Oh, absolutely. But the thing to remember, we have the climate here in Arkansas where you can grow grapes even without the irrigation, which our soil and crop conditions aren't that much different from other parts of the world where large amounts of grapes are grown. So, figuring out what varieties to raise, that takes generations to really figure out what you can be successful farming. As farmers, we kind of think about a bottle of wine from the ground up. We think about growing that from the ground up and bringing it to the table or to market.
When you talk about the contributions to the local economy, I was surprised when I saw that video, the harvesting the grapes. I've never seen that done before, and the number of people it takes. So it's pretty labor intensive. So an operation like yours would have quite an impact on the local economy, strictly from a labor standpoint.
You bet. Yeah, our vineyards we'll hire up to 200 part-time employees with that, and so it has a great impact on the local economy.
Okay, I want to spend the bulk of our time though talking about the Arkansas Wine Trail, and I know this has been an important thing, and most of us have seen the signs when we're out on the road. But tell me a little bit about how this collaboration came about and who all's involved in it.
Well, I certainly think multiple people in the wine industry have been wanting this for many years, and it's kind of wonderful how it's kind of come together in the last couple of years. But it's with the help of the Highway Department, and it's with the help of Parks and Tourism. So it's people working together. I think it's been a good thing, and certainly we'd like to see people come visit all the wineries in the state. We have a lot to be proud of here.
Very much so.
And let's shine.
Have about a minute left. Are we seeing a growth in the number of vineyards in Arkansas?
We are. It's slow. I think actually in vineyards, I think we're still on a little bit of a down pattern, but on wine sales we're starting to go up. So the vineyards should follow. I think we'll see. I certainly would like to see that, and I think it will happen. I think we'll see more grapes grown in our state in the coming years.
And of course, the wine on the wine trail, and the wine festivals, you invite folks to come up and take a look.
Please, please bring your wallets. Come see us.
Well, gentlemen, it's certainly been a pleasure having both of you here, and some new information on both these important topics that Arkansans need to know about and that they can be very proud of.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being with us. That's all the time we have for now. We want to thank you for joining us as well, and we hope you'll join us again next time for Agri Arkansas. I'm Tony Brooks.
Major funding for this program provided by the Moving Image Trust Fund. Additional funding for this program provided by the Arkansas Agriculture Department.